we're expecting it to be a cozy session today, but I'm really excited to be presenting the AGM for Chiltern Branch today, and thank you so much to everybody who has turned up for this, because it's a bit of a special event for me, because after a number of years of running the branch, I'm going to be handing over. And actually, I was thinking about how many AGMs I've run, and because I think I've probably overseen more AGMs than I have been a branch chair. So this is the final one that I'm going to be hosting. And we've got a set agenda that we always go through as an AGM, but hopefully you will find it enjoyable, because we're going to look at, you know, where we've been and where we're going. And I'm very much looking forward to welcoming in the new branch committee and handing over to the new branch. After we've gone through the formal aspects of the branch, we really wanted this session to be interactive, and we wanted to hear from you guys. So we're going to ask you a series of questions about the branch and just get everybody chatting together a bit. And I think because we've got potentially a smaller group today, that should be a good session. Natasha is here, so give us a wave, Natasha. Natasha is going to give us an update from council, and then I'm going to give a little bit of a perspective of where I'm heading on to. So yeah, it's going to be a very chatty session, so hopefully you will enjoy it. Bit different to normal. But yeah, I'm going to run through the AGM process now. And as you see, we've got a very set agenda. So if I could ask my trusty assistant to move on the slide, please. Thank you. So that was my welcome. So next slide. So just a little bit about Chiltern for everybody here. We're actually one of the smallest branches by membership. But we have grown in the last year significantly. We were the first branch to hold a virtual branch meeting, and because we did it with IOSH Singapore, which was fantastic. This year, in the last year, in 2020, we've had 10 members achieve their chartered status, and we've had 2 members achieve fellowship. So congratulations if that was you this year. So we've definitely gained members in 2020, and I think that's because we've really gone all out and embraced the virtual network. But hopefully we'll be increasing that number next year. So in terms of branch diversity, we're almost bang on the IOSH statistic is 21% women. We've got 25% in our branch, so ever so slightly higher. So yeah, so that's us as a branch. So next slide, please. So just a little bit of background there on who we are. We've got a few people that haven't paid, I think, Mellissa. So perhaps we need to whip them into shape. But that just gives you a little bit of background on how we're made up. So next slide. And if any of you may or may not be aware that Networks is made up of branches and groups, and our sector groups are also completely knocking it out the park this year with some great events. And you can see there the makeup of us in terms of sector groups. So the majority of our members, the largest proportion of our members, are in construction or consultancy. Construction, it looks like. So that's where the majority of our members are. So that's something that we'll use to plan the coming year. So next slide, please. So yeah, we've had a hugely successful year. We've got 31 new members this year, which is a big percentage increase with us. We've basically gone all out. So I think one of, there's loads of highlights for me in terms of this year. I think we spanned at least 16 time zones in some of our sessions. So we've had people from Australia all the way across to America and everywhere in between, and we've fully embraced that. But we've continued to hear from our friends of Chiltern who did come to us before this virtual event. So it's been great to connect with so many new members. I think as a small branch, we were building our numbers anyway. And, going forward, I'm sure that we will meet again soon. So that's great. So we have had a very successful year, and the committee has really, it's been no mean feat of the committee to pull off what we've achieved. So next slide, Mellissa. So yeah, it's very much been the new normal. I love these slides. We had normally at Christmas time, we do use it as an opportunity to get together as a committee. We do talk about what we're going to do. So it is a proper committee meeting. I have to be said that it's not just about fun, but we do also use it as an opportunity to get together, to have a discussion about what we're going to do with the branch. And we had a virtual Christmas party this year, which was, I have to say, it was excellent. And I think some of the outtakes or the summary of that is actually on YouTube to have a look at. So that was great. We've had every year, we do usually have a conference with BRE, who is the British Research Establishment, which is in our region, and they've always been very generous of us. And this year we continued on the same vein, albeit they came and presented to us virtually, and that was our sellout one, where we were having to juggle people coming in and out of the branch at that time. So we've had a wide range of topics, and I think we're going to look at the feedback next, are we? So if I could have the next slide. So a huge range of topics, very, very well received. Again, that is the effort of the committee that goes behind bringing all these things in. And it may look seamless on the surface, but there's an awful lot of effort and discussion that goes into that. So next slide. So just a little bit about our communications channels. So, I mean, it's hard to remember where we were kind of this time last year, but we've embraced our social media platforms as well. So we've got the website, the IOSH website. We've also embraced LinkedIn much more this year. So if there's anybody on this call who isn't a member of or following our LinkedIn page, I do recommend it, because that's where you'll get copies of slides and regular communications from us. And we hit over 1,000 members this year, so that was great. And I think we started off the year something like 250. Twitter's still very, very active. Mr. Alan Plum is a champion of our Twitter feed, so that's in there. So well done, Alan, for doing that. Yeah, and just access to all our feeds on YouTube as well. So if there's anything that you think, oh, I missed that session, we've been downloading it onto a dedicated YouTube channel as well. So we've gone all channels, and of course we've got the regular mailer as well. But what we've found as a small branch, we're very much collaborating with other branches, other groups now, and that's really helping us to achieve those numbers. So yeah, next slide. I love this one. So these are our top 5 sessions that we hosted. So the BRE session was number one, where we looked at building and fire safety. We had a really excellent session all the way from Australia on doing safety differently. And I know there's been all this discussion this year about safety 1 or safety 2. So we had some quite heated discussions on the run up to that one. We've had some really good sessions in collaboration with other branches, in particular our dear friends in South Wales and Tudor, and that was a great success. So we put on some sessions all around IPD. Malcolm Staves, who is the Corporate Health and Safety Director at L'Oreal and another great friend to the Chiltern Branch, did a fantastic session about how they manage their health and safety strategy across L'Oreal. And again, it's a really great session for thinking about how you create a strategy within your organisation for health and safety. So you don't have to be a massive L'Oreal or global firm to get something out of that session, but it was really, really good. And number 5 on there was giving expert witness, which was really great. So I love the legal stuff. So I really liked that session. That was really good. And I think I got calls from quite a few people afterwards saying, oh, it gave me something to think about in terms of how I do my job. So again, that was a really great session. So yeah, so if you didn't get any of those, then just grab them on YouTube and you can have a look at those. So it's great to pull those together. Thank you, Tony, for pulling together that list. So financial report, which is something we always go through in AGM, we spent £4 and we're trying to work out how we spent £4. So I'm sure Brenton will be able to go back somewhere and work that out. So usually in this session, we will give you a summary of Trevor's put in the chat, we spent it on Costa Coffee. We've always done really, really well in Chiltern because we have hosted at least a couple of events a year that we charge a nominal fee for, and we've got some very generous people that have allowed us to host. We've always been a branch that has stayed within budget and done an awful lot for our money. But this year, of course, we've gone virtual, and we're in a very similar position to all of the other branches in that, at the moment, we're not having to spend money on hotel hire and so on. But going forward, I think, we'll be looking potentially at a far more hybrid version. And I'm pleased to say that Shireen, who does send her, Shireen sent her apologies today. Shireen is remaining as our treasurer, and she oversees all of that. So we can demonstrate how we're spending members' funds to run the branch. So yeah, so next slide. So this is where we confirm the committee for this year. So one of the things that changed this year was how we went about this. So normally in this part of the AGM, I would have, if we were in the hotel, because we didn't have an AGM last year because it hit right at the same time as the COVID lockdown. Normally what I would have done alongside our regional manager, regional RM, who's Brenton, is that we'd have taken nominations and we'd have taken votes in the room. And if there were 2 or more people looking to be appointed into an executive role, then we would have done, we would have organised voting on that basis. But Natalie is here from the governance team in IOSH. Welcome, Natalie. And we went electronic this year with our branch nominations, and I feel that's been a huge success. And I know how hard everybody in the background at IOSH worked to make that happen. And what this means is that it is a fully democratic process. So what it means is that everybody can access the platform. Everybody who wants to put themselves forward to the committee can do so. And it's a fair and transparent process. So that process, we're very, I think it's one of the benefits actually that's come out of all of this, is that the process has become much more electronic. So rather than me having to worry about counting up everybody in the room, I think it's a much better process that we've gone through. So I'm sure some of you saw the emails that came through. People put themselves forward for different roles, and actually within Chiltern we didn't have any roles where we had more than one person nominated. So all of those roles went through, and everybody who became a committee member also had to be in good standing as well. So CPD had to be up to date. So we will go, if you can turn over to the next slide. So it brings me on to announce our committee members, and I'll just go through everybody. Mellissa, I'm going to hand over to you, but huge congratulations from being chair. So well done, Mellissa.
No, thank you so much, Louise. Yeah, so I'm very proud and excited to take on the role of the chair for the Chiltern branch. You know, Louise, you've done an amazing job over the last few years. I'll leave the rest of it for a bit later on, but yeah, so Mellissa Mark, actually Mellissa Mark Joyce, sorry. Yeah, taking on as chair, and just looking forward to meeting as many of the branch members as possible, even if that's virtually for the rest of this year, for example. So Luke, I'll hand over.
Thank you, Mellissa. Yeah, it's great to be vice chair of Chiltern. Yeah, we've got some very big shoes to fill with Louise. She's done a fantastic job. And yeah, we've got an exciting time ahead of us. So I won't pass over to Shireen. She's the treasurer, as said. So I'll pass over to Tony for comms.
You're on mute, Tony.
That's a good start for comms, isn't it? Probably the best. Anyway, what I was going to say is thanks. This is a new post for IOSH, and it's going to be quite an interesting challenge, but we'll see how we get on communicating with everybody and taking everybody's opinions. But I'm not going to be working alone on this because there's quite a lot involved.
It's become a huge role, so yeah.
So I'll pass over to Kurt, wherever he is.
Hi, hello everyone. Kurt Cadet from Trinidad. It's now about 8:20 a.m. in Trinidad. Glad to be part of the Chiltern branch and see how I could contribute to the branch. Really appreciative of Louise and Brenton and Dave for embracing and accepting me as a remote member of the branch, and look forward to working with the team.
Yeah, and that's been part of our global plan. So, to do that influencing bit. So that's great. So that is the executive committee. As Tony said, comms has become a huge role. So he's not going to be working alone. And then we have the branch committee members. And I am staying on as a branch committee member to help out where needed. But I'm going to just let those that are in today introduce themselves. So Alan, are you there?
Yes, thank you, Louise. Yeah, I've been involved with the branch for some years, and it's been fascinating and great to see how it's developed in that time. My picture there reflects my background with agriculture, and I never lose the opportunity to say wear a helmet if you're on a quad bike. So that is me under there on an HSE training course and featuring quite a few publications, I'm pleased to say. But anyway, no, I'm looking forward to the next stint, and it's been a pretty good seamless transition, I must admit, and I look forward to hearing the views of all of our members, what they want from us. Thank you.
Brilliant. Well, I think unless David Thomas has arrived, because I know he's going to be late in, I think yeah, he's not. So David Thomas, David Whiteleg and Hitesh all send their apologies. So if we can go on to the next slide. Lee.
Hello, my name's Lee Owens. I'm one of the new members with the Chiltern branch. I've been there for about a year. I've just started out in my CPD and managed to gain Tech IOSH. I'm the guy who sends the mailers. So whenever you guys get a mailer out there, I'm the person who sends it. So I hope it's all right and we're not bothering you too much and the information comes across as it should do and everybody's happy with them. It's nice to meet everybody and hopefully we'll meet you all again sometime in the near future. Thank you.
Brilliant. Yes, Lee sends great mailers. I think Martin was another one that was going to be late in today, but hopefully he'll come in later. And Natasha.
Hi, Natasha Graham. I'm on council, so I'm the council liaison for the Chiltern Committee. I was kindly volunteered earlier last year by our illustrious president-elect. And yeah, so I will work with Louise in bridging that gap between committee and council. So anyone who has anything that they want to take to council or who has any issues, please feel free to contact me.
Fantastic. And Tim.
Hi, I'm Tim. I help Tony with the comms, try and look after the microsite and anything else that needs doing, do a bit of posting occasionally. Yeah, just help out where we can, like most of the committee does.
Brilliant, thanks. And Tim's, you've been remote for a long time, so it's like actually Tim's travels the world as well. So thanks, Tim. And by no means least, Trevor.
Hello, I'm Trevor Hamilton. I haven't been involved as much this year. I've had a huge change in employment, leaving the Royal Mail and going to a wonderful consultancy firms. I'm hoping when my schedule settles down, I can actually get involved a bit more. But my number one goal is to sort of get to the meetings more often, and then I can volunteer my services to help out one of the other very, very active and very, very wonderful committee members.
Brilliant. So that is your committee who have all gone through this process, and I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you on. And there really is an awful lot of work and effort that goes into organising all these branch events. Even, you know, before we were virtual, actually, you know, going to the hotels, making sure that everybody had everything that they needed, but also being the type of branch that is supportive and gives back to our members. So before I formally hand over to Mellissa, if we just go to the next slide, I just wanted to sort of say, is my slide in there?
Yes. So can I jump in there? Is that okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. I'll let you come back on. So thank you, Louise, for going through the official part of the AGM. Again, we really appreciate everything you've been doing for the Chiltern branch and IOSH on a wider scale. So we could not close the AGM without doing an official thank you. So we do want to spend some time just saying thanks. And I think you would have gotten a couple of things in the mail. So those are some recognition from the committee members for everything that you have been doing over the last, 4 years, but even my understanding, you've been a member of IOSH since 1999. Right. So
yeah, a while.
Yeah, good. So I want to hand over to Alan who, as he mentioned, has been a long-serving member of the branch. So I've known you for a very long period, and we just want to spend a few minutes, celebrating you. Alan?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's an honour to do this, Louise. And myself and Tony are probably originals in terms of as long as you've been going to the branch meetings, and it seems so long ago since we saw each other face to face. But this is a poor substitute for that. So it was a few photographs really to recognise some of your contributions, and really. Coming back to your starting with us, I think you realised that we needed to rejuvenate the branch, rejuvenate the committee really, and you've never been afraid to lead from the front. You've always promoted the branch and been up front face to face. We've run some really good events. You've always had the branch in mind. And the other thing about you, you've always, embraced us all physically, but mentally as well, and working with us as a team chill. And these last two photographs there in the middle reflect our Christmas parties. And you were always good to us all as well by giving us an award every Christmas. We all got an award reflecting something we'd done for the branch. So it was a good bit of fun together with a drink in your local pub in St Albans. So thank you for that. The picture that's cropped up at the top, and as I said, always led from the front there, and down the bottom we've run some really great events. The first big IOSH event on well-being, one down the bottom you remember well, that very cold day, not dissimilar to today actually, in North Bedfordshire here with the rainy and cold at Shuttleworth College, when we scouted the premises for our Shake, Rattle and Roll event, joint with Rural Industries Group, of course, like our other events that we've run together, Trees, Grass and Caterpillars, and other notable titles. The sad thing about all this, of course, is, despite you being convinced that we would win an IOSH Excellence in Communications Award, we always did the big prize. The big prize eluded us, but we did get the chance to stand up there and have our photograph taken collectively with representatives from the branch on this occasion. And the next slide, I think, you get the chance to get a networks conference. You were never one to lose the opportunity to put your glad rags on and get your ball gown on and dress up. So Louise, this is her in her glam phase, and we had some good networks conferences. This year's was a shadow of the times we've had in Birmingham and elsewhere. But anyway, and the last slide, I think, to come in there, and number one. And what can I say on that note? But we salute you, Louise. You've done a fantastic job for us, and I think, cue music.
Oh, thank you guys. I mean, yeah. Wow, thank you so much. I mean,
it's... hear this.
We're not hearing the music, Alan. Only Alan's hearing the music. Is it in your head? While he sets up the music, Louise, you should have received in the electronic mail. So again, in the spirit of hybrid, you should have gotten a electronic card. We've just posted a couple of the statements from persons who signed the card. There are a few more, so hopefully you've gotten that in the mail, and then you should have gotten some physical items.
I have.
Yes. I don't know if you want to open them here.
Can I open my presents?
While you're opening them, Louise, I'm going to have another chance. And those who don't know me, my phone speaks directly into my hearing aids by Bluetooth. So I'm bopping along to this.
Can I open these now?
Go ahead. It's not a typical AGM, but we've got to do this, right? So we'll come back to the official agenda.
Whoa, Caribbean rum!
Yes, representing Caribbean, myself and Kurt.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So 100 women using their power to empower. That's fantastic. Thank you. Wow, thank you, guys.
Is there something else?
Yeah, a little gift card. And I've got a rather nice box of things in here. I don't know what I did to deserve all of this.
No, just want to say thanks, everybody from the committee. So while Alan is still setting up the music.
Oh, chocolate.
Always important.
And more gin. There's a definite theme going on here. So,
oh yes, alcohol.
I didn't expect all of that, and you know, at a different time, we absolutely would have been together, and it would have been a massive celebration. Wow, I mean, all of those words, you know, thank you so much. I mean, I guess if we can just flick over to just for me to kind of finish and hand over, really. I think as Alan said, I think Alan and Tony were the original branch members that I met, and we didn't have so many. And actually, I think Richard, you were there as well when I first came along.
Very likely.
and so, you know, I felt that a branch could be something different, that we could be a real hub of support and networking for each other, and there is no limit to what an amazing good branch can do. And I just pulled together some pictures that sort of showed our journey, and Alan, Trees and Caterpillars was great. I mean, I got thrown right into the deep end with that, and sort of hosting that session, thinking I knew nothing about rural industries at the time. And, you know, I've just met so many wonderful, wonderful people. We had our first conference at BRE back in 2017. And the then chief executive is now the chair of IOSH Board of Trustees. So, you know, we've always been in good company. In terms of, you know, we've had really practical events. You mentioned the wellness conference at the GSK building, which was phenomenal. We all worked so hard, and you know what a team we became to put that on. I loved the Meet the Inspector session that we did, because actually the lady in the middle there, I started off life as an environmental health officer, and she was the year behind me in college and still works in Cambridgeshire, where we were both EHOs together. And so I guess what comes out of that part of the story is that you meet people in this job for life, and you know, we're all on a journey. And for me, our branches are really at the heart of IOSH and of the support that we can give our members. So yeah, I mean, I hope going forward that we will retain the connection that we've created on this virtual format. But I think you can see that as a branch, we like getting together. So I'm deeply honoured to have served you for all of these years. I'm gonna just have to. Chiltern has been in my heart for a very, very long time, and you know, I'm thrilled with everything that we've achieved. It's been real teamwork, and I know you will know that I talk about equality and diversity a lot. We're actually quite a diverse bunch of people, but we've come together, and what we pull off is incredible. And you know, when we build those connections, we save more lives, and that's what we do. That's fundamentally why we do what we do. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Mellissa, it gives me a huge pleasure, and it's a huge honour to hand over the chair to you. I gave you a box of goodies at the weekend, and there's a chairman's medal in there.
Yes, I haven't opened the boxes yet, but yes, now they know how the gifts were delivered. But yeah, so I just want to say a few words and then maybe open it up for anyone if they want to say anything before we close off this
Before you
part.
do, I'm going to try.
Thank you.
Better late than never. Sorry, Louise.
Better late than never.
I don't know if this is an official AGM. I hope we're not getting into trouble, but no, we had to do this, Louise. So I just wanted to say a few words and then open it up for anyone else, and then we'll continue with the rest of the agenda. But you know, Louise, I said this at the Christmas party, and I think Alan touched on this. One of the things that I really love about you is that you see the potential in people. And you see the good and you want everyone to reach their potential. And you know, that's so valuable. I met you last year, January, and you've influenced my life immensely, personally. I was going through, you know, just transition, deciding where next to go in my career. And, you know, you said, come along to the branch meetings. I started with the Chiltern branch with no intentions of, you know, getting this opportunity to be the chair. I stepped into the interim chair position and, you know, so grateful for that. And then the opportunity to be the chair. So I know I have huge shoes to fill. You've left the branch in a great place, you know, as demonstrated by the quality of the events that were run last year. You know, yes, it was all in person, and in person is valuable. We do want to get back in person, but it was really important to keep that connectivity going, and you all did that in the branch, and, you know, really powerful topics that spanned, you know, a wide range. And, you know, that passion and commitment is amazing. And we know you're going to do great things this year as your president-elect, next year as president, and even after you're not IOSH president, because it's just your nature, and, you know, you want to see this profession do well, make a difference. And you know, I personally value that. So I just want to say thank you.
Thanks, Melissa.
So I don't know if anybody else wanted to say anything before we close this piece. Trevor?
I just wanted to say that actually, see, I was in another branch before, and this is no reflection on any other branch. However, one of the reasons that I did join the branch, I think I emailed you a few months before, during COVID, before I joined the branch, and just asking when your next meeting is going to be. It was your activity on LinkedIn, and just seeing you on LinkedIn and how active you were was one of the things that drew me to the branch. And then when I got on the branch, meeting the other branch members, which I'm also grateful for, and the interactions I've had as well. So you're one of the reasons I joined the branch, and it is a great branch, and you have left it in a great.
Thanks, Trevor.
Go ahead, Kurt. Go ahead, Kurt. You're on mute. The phrase of the year.
Yeah, sorry. Taking over from comms. Yeah, I met Louise a few years ago at a workshop. I don't even know if she remembers that, but I am very appreciative of Louise for taking the bold step in welcoming me to be a remote member of the branch. I don't know if any of the other branches had started that last year before Chiltern and Louise did, but I just wanted to say a huge thank you, and I look forward to good things from you as the president-elect and president of IOSH. All the best.
Yeah, I do remember meeting you, because I was like, one day I've got to get to the Caribbean branch, and I made it, but virtually.
Yes, true, you did.
All right. Anyone else? Last call. Oh, Luke?
Yeah. I'd just like to say a massive thank you to Louise, mainly just for my nickname of LinkedIn Luke. Yeah, I didn't think the first sort of session that I came in, I was going to get a nickname straight away. So that was great, and it's very rare to come into a branch and just, you know, feel welcome, and everyone cares that you're going to progress, and that they want to help you, and everyone wants to help. So it's fantastic to be a part of the branch that you've, you know, kind of created, Louise.
Thanks, Lee.
Yeah. Richard Darby has his hand raised.
there. I've been a member of this branch since 1995. And I can tell you that the way it's changed over the years is really remarkable, and that Louise was certainly one of the people who made the biggest difference over these years.
Oh,
Thanks,
thanks,
Richard.
Richard. And Martin Jones, who's our new committee member, actually has turned up. So
And David, I saw David joined as well.
Yeah, and David, yeah.
Good. Good. Last call for anything else? Okay, if not.
Alan wants to say something.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't see Alan. Go ahead.
Sorry. Just one last thought, really, reflected in the comments that others have made. I think, I described you in the slides as not being afraid to lead from the front, but also you've been notable at identifying individuals and their potential and encouraging them all to step up and take roles on. So we've all been stretched in that way. And I look forward to you doing that. We've already done it to an extent. You've reached out to Trinidad and Sweden and other places already. But doing that globally to for the 48,000 members or whatever it is we've got, I think we're in for some interesting times. So we certainly look forward to your game plan. Thank you.
Thanks. Brendan?
Just a brief thank you from me to Louise. I mean, I've picked up a lot from you, Louise, and what I've loved about it is you've championed the diversity within not just the committee but the branch as a whole. And it's fantastic that you've put down such a marker for Mellissa to pick up. And one of the things that I love about it is when you came out with that phrase, sort of teamwork makes the dream work. And I think that applies to this branch and this committee. So thank you for your past work, and I'm sure you'll make a fantastic president. And thanks from everybody within the branch.
Wow, thank you so much. Great things are never achieved by one person.
Okay. So, well, thank you very much, kids. So
over to you, Mellissa.
Yes. So again, thanks very much, everyone. And just a couple of quick things in terms of looking ahead for the next year. Louise touched on this at the start. My style, I really like to get a lot of conversation going, get feedback and input. And that's why in this agenda, we do want to hear from the branch members who have joined as we think about the next year of activities. So for us as a committee, we started to think about next 12 months. And of course, we want to continue to ensure we're delivering the IOSH strategy. I'm not going to go through everything here line by line. And a lot of this is continuing what's been in place over this last year, where we do want to really ensure that our branch members are feeling supported. They feel their development needs are being met. And that's why we, the quality of the branch meetings that we've been doing, we want to continue that. One thing we do want to do more going forward is around the mentoring support and IPD CPD. So there's some things as a committee we're starting to put as our metrics to help support these. So we do want, as a few of us as committee members, to be actively involved as mentors for our members. And then we do want to look at some more regional joint regional events. We see a huge opportunity there. So for example, the Midlands and East region 2-day event that Brenton coordinated earlier this year, that was really powerful. We see a great opportunity in doing that. One of the beauties of the virtual world is that we can go to other events and we try to promote other branch activities as well. And of course, future leaders, the younger generation is the future of this profession. We want to make sure this profession is valued and respected. So we do want to build a greater connectivity with the future leaders. I'm looking at collaborating to build strategic partnership, a bit more around working like with our with regulators, schools and universities, the business sector, etc. Again, some of this we didn't get to do as much in the last year because of the virtual piece, but we want to seek opportunities to do a bit bit more of that going forward. One of the things we would want to get from members is ideas, suggestions on or examples of where we can leverage these opportunities. And then influence and strengthen impact globally. Some of this we've been doing. Louise, you've mentioned LinkedIn followers. We have about 151, I think. I'm sorry, 1,051 LinkedIn followers. Great opportunity to build connectivity, share best practices, reach out, learn from each other. And that hybrid branch meetings going forward. So we know we can't do no in-person events this year, but into the new year, we would want to do some face-to-face events. So a good hybrid, because again, from the data that showed before, we had an event that had 14, 15 different time zones. So there is that opportunity there to be learning from what's happening in Australia, share what's happening in the UK, have people from Africa, etc. So we do want to continue with what we've been doing, but also continually improve. So with that, I'm going to skip that, and these are some of the targets that we want to hold ourselves to as a committee. So grow the membership to at least 650. We're currently about 618. Host at least 12 branch events. So one of the things Louise and the team really pushed was, I think initially it was once a week in the early stages of COVID, of the lockdown. And it's, we've kept the momentum of twice a month, but we said now, especially if we start to do things with other branches, there's a great opportunity to collaborate there. So, but we're holding ourselves to at least one branch event a month, of which at least 3 would be joint events with other branches. We want to continue getting that positive feedback from our participants, because again, why do something if it's not adding value, right? So we, our feedback has been 90% plus, so we want to maintain that. We want at least 20% of our members to attend our branch meetings on average. I have to say, so I'm coming in new to IOSH technically. I won't go bore everyone with that, but that's the piece for me that I see a real opportunity. I think we average maybe about 10 to 15% of our members coming to the branch meetings. Don't know if it's because they're virtual events or if it wasn't the right topics, etc. We want to really kind of get into that a bit more and see how our members will attend. Grow our social media, LinkedIn followers to 2,000, Twitter followers to 1,000, and have at least 5 of our mentorship relationship be from the committee to branch members. And we want to celebrate our members. So celebrate their progression. Louise mentioned we had about 12 members move to CMIOSH, 2 move to CFIOSH, Chartered Fellows. We want to recognize them, celebrate it, promote it, because these are great accomplishments. It shows the passion and commitment people have for the profession. So we want to make that more public, a bit more going forward. So these are some of the draft targets that we're looking at as a committee. So not a lot. I did sneak in another branch AGM over the last couple of days, and I know the new chair made a long speech, and it was great. And I was like, I don't have a speech, because to me, I want to start to hear more from people who are in attendance. So I'll leave that there for now. But please know that I am deeply committed to this role. I'm deeply committed to making Louise proud, and I'm deeply committed to the branch members feeling supported, valued by the committee. We're the committee in these roles for a reason, and we want to deliver on those commitments. So what we wanted to do next was kind of have an open discussion. We were going to go into breakout rooms, but I don't think we need to do the breakout rooms. It's 28 of us. So we had a couple of questions, and this is where it would be great to hear from those of you all who are here on some of the things we're thinking of for the next year. So I'll just highlight the 3 themes and then have it as an open floor. And I would really like to hear from the non-committee members. So the first one, we've been talking about this new normal. We have had virtual events for our branch meetings. Our branch meetings have had really great presentations and topics. What else do you want to see in our branch events? Is it more of these presentations, or is it something else? Is it different topics? Is it different types of speakers? Should it be different professions coming in, etc.? Kind of want to open that. And then, should it be, is it the once a month is enough? Is the date and time, because we currently do them Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. Does that work for people? Then the second topic was around membership development and recognition. What should we be doing in this space around membership development and recognition, right? What do you want to see from the committee this year? What's some of the things that's worked well? What's some of the biggest concern? And then the last one, and it's all kind of related, but the topics. So this is the current list of topics we're looking at. What we have planned so far for June is looking at a technical set of topics. So back to basics. So that will be coming out for the June-July period. But beyond that, we're looking at different topics. And these are just some of the lists, but are these what people think are the right topics? Power skills, business sustainability, climate change, business ethics, regulator, conversations with the regulators, etc. So I know I read through that very quickly. We were going to go into breakout rooms, going to a big, a deeper dive. But since it's just a few of us, kind of just want to hear from, especially the branch members who are not on the committee. Kind of, what would you like to see going forward?
Can I make an observation, guys, please?
Oh, is that David?
It is. I've kept quiet. I've let the other members have a chance. Kurt, you might want to engage with this as well. What I'm about to say. Can you go back to the previous slide, please?
Hold on. Previous slide or this one?
That one there, right.
Okay.
Technical, to most people, Alan, I think you were at the seminar last week. Technical means, to most managers, people going on the shop floor and tell a guy using a lathe he's doing it incorrectly. It's about going to a scaffold and telling the scaffold is not putting up the scaffold correctly. Businesses want health and safety people to go on the shop floor and tell the workers are not operating safely and put that unsafe work right. This is why we have this disconnect. We're using the word technical to mean writing a policy. That's not technical. Yet IOSH's definition says it is. And I think we have to start having this difficult conversation to start saying, what is this? I see that stuff there. I do not see business sustainability as technical. I see it as academic and professional.
Okay.
And we're using this word technical because it sounds good. I'm a technical expert. No, you're not. Here's a spanner. Here's some tools. Put that right. I was talking to a guy yesterday that has made from first hand. I was sat and I experienced it. He had made a virtual reality roller coaster. And I came off it dizzy, and he'd cut every bit of metal on there apart from eight hoses that had hydraulic fluid in. Everything else he'd made with various cutters and things. Kurt, that's what I get from my conversation with you the other week. Businesses want people that can go into the shop floor and tell them they're doing the job incorrectly or right. That's what you mean by technical, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct.
So why is IOSH propagating this myth? The competency framework is not fit for purpose because it doesn't pick up what technical means. Please, can someone tell me I'm wrong and evidence why I'm wrong?
I could tell you you're wrong, but I'm not going to give you the evidence. I'm an engineer.
Yep.
I brought up with the term technical as someone who fiddles with his hands. But as I progressed, got into health and safety, looked at the wider world, there's a bit more than playing with your hands, if you get the drift of it.
I do.
And I do believe a technician has a different connotation. I think we need to have to branch out of the word technical. I mean, if you don't like the word technical, find a better word that deals with the engineering, practical issues, as well as things like business sustainability. Because the whole purpose behind this is to try and broaden the reach because we are all, I mean, all right, let's come back to as I learned in the later days of being as an inspector with it was the railway inspectorate. When we started doing safety audits for safety certificates, you were looking into how the management could work through issues, identify issues, and do all the normal things. But we very soon, when we were dealing with someone like Network Rail, realized that the questions we were posing them was not just limited to their health and safety. They were basic management questions. So me as a engineer has gone into this wider area with the same practical approach. So what I'm complaining about is don't put the technician in the box.
Tony, I agree with you 100%, because you've hit the nail on the head. That I'm an engineer by background, but engineer through academic study, not through being a technician as in doing the job. That's why I see the word and I see it used differently everywhere, and thinking business on the shop floor are talking a different language to what IOSH is talking. And this is why Judith Hackett said that one of the reasons health and safety has a problem is health and safety itself, because it has devised its words and it's by itself. And if you compare IOSH competencies for its framework and someone like Switch, the waste competencies for supervisors, they map pretty damn well. The supervisors,
so David, so thanks for being the first one to bring up an item for conversation.
I'm saying, can we bring that in? Can we incorporate? We're back to these core. I think we're talking about back to basics. Alan was talking the other week. I think that discussion. How can we incorporate that to start getting people familiar, getting back to that basics? To that. Okay. Can we incorporate that?
Yeah, the only thing I was going to say with these titles, and maybe that's what you're pointing at, which I think it's good to have the discussion here, but the solution isn't in here, I think, is that this was under the 3 elements of the competency framework, right? So the core, the behavioral, and the technical. So I bucketed them according to those 3 alignments. Well, actually, as you know, the technical breaks down into other components, etc. So I don't know if you're trying to facilitate what you're saying. It's a bigger conversation. It's fine to bring it up here, but it's something we need to take outside of here then, in terms of if we're matching the competency framework into the future of the profession. I don't know if that's what you're bringing up.
Can I just jump in? So look, as a member of council and looking at it from my own interpretation of the word technical, obviously there's like 5 or 6 different definitions in the dictionary of technical. But I think from IOSH's point of view, my interpretation is technical is about the knowledge and the application of that knowledge. So it's, although we would say technical, having the technical knowledge is the academic side of it, what they're looking at is how you then apply that. So maybe the word technical should be application or operational, because it's how you apply that knowledge to your profession and how you apply that to your workplace.
Yeah. So, and I agree, Natasha, I guess and this is where it's good to hear from you in terms of council, in terms of where do we give that feedback? Because this is bigger than Chiltern Branch, right? Because this is based on the competency framework. So if there is a question around what's the categories of the competency framework, it's a bigger conversation.
Yeah, the competency framework, I believe, and I don't know if Natalie's still on the call, but the competency framework, I believe, is reviewed every 3 years. So this competency framework we have now is set in stone, and it will be reviewed at the end of its cycle. So maybe these idiosyncrasies in the wordings is something that we can take forward to the next review.
Exactly.
Natasha, can I ask you a question, please?
Yeah.
As you're on council.
Yeah.
Why has IOSH not considered membership grades for people that own the risk and manage the risk, rather than those who provide assistance to the risk?
To be brutally honest, I cannot answer that question, but I can take it back.
10 years, and I asked the same question repeatedly and could not get a straight answer. If anything, it was fear, and let's not have this conversation. People were frightened to bring in people that managed the risk. And we've got ex-HSE inspectors that can't get chartered membership, that I would put them before many chartered members in terms of what they're saying. And I think council, I voted against the grades review for that one reason. It didn't incorporate the people who manage the risk, and these are the key people. We don't own health and safety. We do not own it. IOSH do not own it. It's owned by the people who are actually in the workplace.
Yeah. Okay. So David, again, thanks for raising that point. And I think it's a continual conversation that needs to happen. And thanks, Natasha, for providing that context, that there is that opportunity for it to be reviewed. I'm assuming it's another year or so since this competency framework's been about at least 2 years now.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
But I can find that out for you.
Yeah, no, good. This is a great opportunity to hear from some of the other branch members who are on. So what else would other people want to bring up, raise? What would you like to see in the next year?
Can I just add a little bit more to this ownership of the issue, which was touched on?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Tony.
Not every company is as organisations as Dave describes it, because having worked with the railways people, quite often those are seeking their competences in health and safety are also managing the risk. They may be designing the signals, they may be managing how safe the track is, they're making judgments, and they are issuing instructions. They're dealing with teams, setting maintenance processes up. So it's not just a question of them not living in an unpractical environment. They are actually doing the practical stuff as well as learning the basics of health and safety. And we find a lot of people, certainly from Network Rail, have done their NUBOSH through IOSH courses. Not everybody, but that's the way it's done.
Oh, I see Tim has his hand up. You're on mute, Tim.
Yeah, you're on mute. That's going to be put up in lights somewhere, isn't it?
The phrase for the year.
So, yeah, just to change the subject, with regards to membership progression and the committee stroke the branch supporting members to progress from wherever they are to wherever they want to be. There's been a couple of people, actually, one today and one a few months ago, have come to me and said, well, how do we do it? How do we set it up? I've had some meetings with Brenton and a guy in the southeast who set up branch mentoring to coincide with IOSH mentoring, but on a more informal level, to make it less formal and more specific perhaps to people, and then we can match people within the branch. Because for me, part of the branch, it's all about networking as professional colleagues in a safe space to be able to ask what other people might think are stupid questions, but you don't want to ask them in your own workplace, or you just want to go to someone at the committee who you know, for example, Mellissa does chemical engineering, and maybe ask them a cost-related question or something like this that's been quizzing you, or anything like this. So this, for me, is what the branch is about, networking, and specifically with regards to grades progression. But how do we then, as a committee, progress grades progression in terms of how do we get people together? Do we set up Zoom meetings? Do we set up a WhatsApp group? For me, probably the Zoom meetings are the way to go, because then we can identify need and meet together, because some people might be looking at an NCRQ diploma or a NEBOSH diploma or a university degree or whatever it might be to progress to the next grade. What's best for them? How does it fit in with their work-life balance? And I think those sort of conversations probably need to happen in a virtual face-to-face way rather than a WhatsApp group, because a lot's lost, but then supported with a WhatsApp group to follow on from there. That for me would be the platform. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up for discussion and how we actually get that boat rolling, because we've got lots of stuff in our OneDrive within the committee. We've had meetings about it, but how do we actually do it that suits the members that want help?
No, I agree. And so one of the work streams that we have is around membership development. And I know it's something you're passionate about. And yeah, I think if we look back at the last 12 months, that's one of our opportunities, right? So really excited in progressing that. I saw Kurt had his hand up, but the other thing I was going to mention, and I've lost it, it'll come back to me. Oh, it was the offer. So for those who are not committee members right now, we would be looking for people to one, attend our committee meetings, but also if someone wants to be co-opted into the committee to help support one of the work streams, right? So we talked about membership development, there will be communications. Tony has a lot happening in that space. We have an events group that does all the planning, because as Louise mentioned, to have done 31 events in 12 months is not an easy task. You have to coordinate with the presenters, get the right presenters, etc. So we'd love to get some more members to help support that. So Kurt, you had your hand raised.
I'm off mute. Just back onto the topic that we are on now about feedback from the members and what they would like to see. Having been the chair of the Caribbean branch for 4 years, it's been no different in terms of getting the members to provide that feedback. And what I found is that sometimes we put them on the spot, and I think they might be feeling being put on the spot right now in terms of, what they want to see. So what we need to do maybe as another approach or parallel approach is to keep some sort of communication channel open, where the members can go away, think about it, and when things come to mind, send it to us via whatever mode of communication, and we could work on it and develop it with that member. Sometimes we just can't think of it when we are put on the spot like this. Yeah,
that's a good idea. Yeah, so almost like a repository of ideas or something that everyone has access to, and they can, as ideas come up, they put that. Good idea.
Yeah, something like that. Something that a little more relaxed, and people could just put in these suggestions, and then we could develop on it from there.
Okay, good.
Is there a Zoom way of having a suggestion box, for example, an anonymous suggestion box? Because I think the sort of thing, Kurt, you're talking about is like having a little wooden box on the way out of your work where you can stick in notes and suggestions. Could we not do that virtually?
Yeah, as well as members would have closer relationships with other members on the committee, and they might feel a little more relaxed and open to have a conversation offline with them. So it's just to get those things in, and we can take it from there once we have the ideas, and we could expand on it. We could have one-on-one conversations with the members so that we could develop whatever topic it might be, and see what we can do with it to support the members.
That's a really good idea. I saw Jake, so great. We have someone.
Hello, yes, new to the branch.
Excellent.
Not new to IOSH. Just my reflection on topics to consider. As a professional, I think personally, I will get the most value out of the branch on non-technical areas. My biggest day-to-day challenge is not do I know what the worker height regs are or how to implement them, but actually more broadly on coaching, influencing, driving my team and other stakeholders in the business. So sessions around effectiveness as a manager or an advisor or as a whomever, that are not necessarily topic specific, but they draw all of the skills that can be applied universally to any given topic, would be a good supplement to the topic-based topics you've got already. So I saw probably 80 or 90% of the topics on the screen were kind of very technical discipline led. If we could have some additional ones that draw the more broader spectrum of how we deliver our day job and drive change that we all need to do in our businesses.
Oh, I love that, Jake. Can I ask you a couple of follow-up questions? So it's great to hear from you. You said you're new to the branch. How long have you been in the branch, and have you attended any of the previous Chiltern presentations in the last few months?
I have not. No. So I used to live in London. Before the pandemic, I moved near Oxford. And I've just been a bit absent. We've snowed under with work. I work for Domino's, so there you go, a bit of information. Domino's Pizza, UK and Ireland. So we've been extremely hectic. I know the government's sector guidance by back of my hand. So I've been completely swamped. We're just coming out to a bit of normalisation now. So I want to reinvest my time in joining the branch. So no, roll back a few years when I was in retail. I was quite involved in the London branch as it was back then. But so I haven't been to any events at all with Chiltern.
Okay, well, thank you for coming to this AGM. We really appreciate it. Good,
No
and
problem.
yeah, I agree with you in terms of the topics around that balance between that technical as well as Louise says, the power skills. Sometimes people call it soft skills, but it's really power skills around how we influence, how we engage others. So the profession doesn't seem as a burden. So like that. Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, I'm seeing another hand up. I see two. So it's a little icon. I'm seeing Alan hands up, but Jake's hand is still up. So maybe it's Alan. Okay. So Alan?
Yeah, thank you. Just to really pick up on Jake's point, and thanks. That's really the sort of feedback that we do need from from members. But just to reassure you, a lot of those the technical matters, it really hinges back to the points that David Thomas was making just now. We felt there's a lot of new people in the profession that don't have those basic skills, basic understanding, maybe consultants working across new industries, new sectors. So it was as much about giving practical interpretation, not the regulations say this, not a boring, death by PowerPoint lecture, but actually get out showing visually what happens on the shop floor in an engineering plant, maybe transport, whatever. But yeah, I just wanted to say, Jake, we're not pitching it at that level. Here's the regulations. Now go away and do it. We're saying this is how we interpret the regulations in practice. Now discuss. So yeah, hopefully that's the sort of thing that may be helpful to your colleagues, if not you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alan.
Thanks.
Mirza, your hands up.
Hi, this is Mirza here actually from Qatar's branch. I'm new to IOSH, so not much having a, you can say, idea how it goes. But I mean, I actually really enjoyed few of the webinars from FireCo in past few days, and they were really theme oriented actually. Like currently they are running, you can say, theme of like a special needs, like a deaf, or you can say anybody having a special need for, you can say, hearing aids and all those things. In past, you can say, like a few months which I've seen, there were a lot of technical presentations, but I feel like that, I mean, they are having a more to learn from, as compared to what I've seen in a regional level when the, you can say, presentations are organized. What I've seen the difference is, like in regional chapter meetings, we are encouraging the members to present something, and those members are sometimes not the expert in those topics. They are trying their best to just present something and share with the members. But I mean, what I've noticed in the FireCo, they are bringing the industry is expert. Like, I mean, today I was listening to one of the hearing related presentation. In that one, I learned even a lot, even though I've studied about the NEBOSH diploma. But I mean, I didn't know about those things, and those technologies exist in the market, and I was able to learn a lot from that. So my thought is that, I mean, we should just make a list of themes for a whole year, and then we should encourage chapters, either chapters, or we should provide from the IOSH selected speakers who can even share the expert knowledge with each and every chapter, and it will help actually everyone to learn something of quality. That's all actually. Thank you.
So, thanks, Mirza, for joining in. I think you said Qatar. Is that correct?
You are right.
Okay, excellent, great. Which it's one of the benefits, I think, of it being virtual, right? You can have someone calling in from Qatar, Australia, Singapore, etc., and it just really helps that IOSH strategy around that global reach, that global collaboration. So your point around kind of getting the best quality presenters, etc., I think that really leverages on the plans to have more like joint events. So Brenton, our regional manager, has been holding some sessions to start getting the branches in for his group to look at the look ahead of topics that we're looking at and collaborate together to have joint events, and we're really supportive of that. So one, we get quality speakers, but we also get to reach more people, and instead of having repetition as well. So I think it's a great opportunity of this hybrid model going forward. Luke, I don't know if you wanted to add anything as vice chair before we allow Natasha and Louise to give us a bit more from IOSH.
No, I don't think so. No, I think you know, what you said, Melissa, where you're going to start really looking at targets for this year, achievable targets, and celebrating the branch members when they make achievements. I think it sounds really good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, good. I don't know if anybody else's hands up. So thanks everyone. That was a brief conversation. I love Tim's, it was a Tim's suggestion around having, oh no, Kurt's a suggestion. It's all everyone's suggestion, but that idea around having like a Dropbox of suggestions and ideas or so as something, as you think of something, and so we can constantly look at that as a committee. It's like a suggestion box, you know, like those late night talk show, they might have a suggestion box, and you can't do everything, but at least if you hear, there may be something we haven't considered, and we can give feedback on the things we haven't implemented.
We do have the Chiltern Branch email as well, so I'll put that in the chat. So if anyone has any ideas, wants to get in contact with us, it's there. You know, if you've got any ideas, or even if you want some help, you know, send us over an email or send us over a message on LinkedIn. Any of those communications, we'll get back to you.
Excellent, thanks. Tim, your hand's up.
Yeah, good point, Luke, that we need to start using the branch email address. I have to find the logins from however long ago it was. But yeah, if we use that as an anonymous means of contacting people, for example, with regards to any subject, but also the membership and grades progression and things like this, if people want to show interest sort of anonymously or from a distance or remotely without being put on the spot, they can do it that way. But it just occurred to me also that I don't know if it's a webinar thing, a Zoom webinar thing, but you can set up the Q&A to be only for the hosts, for example. So you could maybe set that up. I don't know if it's possible, but just a thought to set that up as an anonymous.
You're on mute. Oh.
Yeah, someone muted me. I'll finish soon, don't worry. But yeah, you could set up the Q&A as an anonymous Dropbox. So you direct that to only panel members, for example, in the case of webinars, but we could set it up for only hosts or co-hosts or whatever. So then people, rather than go in the sort of public chat, they could go specifically to a place that no one else has to see. So that's the anonymity of that.
Yeah, I think there's an opportunity there around how we get feedback continuously, but also an opportunity for people to, some people, they're open to providing feedback. Some may want to be more anonymous in that. So I think it's a good discussion for us to have in our next committee meeting.
I can answer the question on the Q&A only works in Zoom webinar, but don't forget a chat. You can address it to an individual. So I'm just thinking, how can we use that? Obviously, it only works in Zoom, but if we could say, if you've got something in confidence or what, can you address the message to so-and-so, and it's not broadcast to everybody then?
Yeah, that's a good point. You just send it rather than to everyone, just to a specific person.
We just have to nominate. I mean, for instance, we could nominate Mellissa or somebody else that will take specific queries that don't want to share. It's just getting the approach right.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great opportunity. Okay, good. I'm looking at the time, so I think some good discussions to be continued via our committee and branch meetings. So